Hey everybody, welcome to this recap with Gino. Welcome. This is going to be a review of Night 1 of WrestleMania, a little bit of controversy. Match length, commercials, TKO in general. Fuck TKO, they're killing WWE. And I am a WWE over AEW guy, and I like both companies. I've born and bred WWE. I am a big, huge WWE fan, been a follower for WrestleManias as old as I am. Let's put it that way. And I've watched every single WrestleMania there is. Um, was this the greatest WrestleMania you've ever seen? Yet to be told, because we still have night 2 in a couple hours. Night 1 had its moments, but in general, I don't know if it was better than it appeared to be on paper. But I don't know if it's a memorable WrestleMania. There might be one or two memorable moments and a couple of memorable returns, but in general, not what you think of a WrestleMania. It kind of felt like to be honest, with you kind of felt like a Monday Night Raw or SmackDown or something like that. Um, I guess you can guess from my ratings and go for most of the matches on this show. That being said, let's get into it. As I pull up the card, I remember them all, but I just want to do the timeline because I can't remember the time on all of them. We had the Usos and LA Knight taking on the Vision with I Show Speed. I Show Speed was in there. He did a few spots for a little bit. Jimmy took a beating for a little bit. Nothing really memorable in this match. Jey Uso actually hit a spear that didn't look like he botched. Jey Uso didn't really look like he fucked up at all really in this match, which is kind of shocking because Jay's usually known to fuck up in a few matches. I think Jimmy's the better wrestler of the two, to be honest, and I don't think Jimmy's that good, but I think he's better. Actually, I take that back. Jay fucked up with the 3D, whatever you want to call it, the D1 at the end there. When they gave it to Logan Paul, before they put him, we'll talk about that when we get to that. But it seemed kind of rushed and kind of clunky, and a lot of the matches seemed like that, if it makes sense to you guys. But um, sorry, guys, just dealing with our Arsenal pretty much bottling the league. If anyone follows football, they know what I mean. Um, but yeah, like I said, it seemed a little rushing, a little clunky. Seemed like there was not much of a story that was able to be told because they had a time limit and they knew they had a limit and they wanted to get their stuff in. The part of the match is pretty much division, bowling, I show speed. Here comes Toddy. He kind of agrees with me on that. We had a nice little play aside for about an hour there. Me and her right before I did this. Right, Tots? Thank you. Thank you. Um, I just remembered realized now she very much looks like a bigger version of Matilda. If you guys don't know who Matilda is, go look up the British Bulldogs and look up their dog. Um, that being said, guys, like I said, there seemed like a little bit of clunkiness. It seemed rushed like most of the matches did. It seemed like they couldn't really get in a rhythm or a flow. The Vision controlled part of the match. The good guys came back and fought back. The finish happened when Logan Paul accidentally got taken up by Ice Show Speed, and Austin Theory went to blame Ice Show Speed. Jimmy pushed Ice Show Speed into Austin Theory, who then was hit with a random BTE trigger, and that was it. 1, 2, 3 just seemed like it abruptly ended. I Show Speed for some reason was just sitting on the ropes. Logan Paul got pinned, or sorry, Austin Theory got pinned, like just staring at the pin. It didn't seem like he forgot like he was supposed to do something, or I don't know what happened, but it looked really weird. And you can even see my reaction in real time in the other video that I posted yesterday, the live video. Um, I think that was just a warning. I think that was just foreshadowing what was supposed to happen for the rest of the night. And like one person said, I completely agree with them on social media. WWE seems to struggle with doing clean finishes. Um, sorry, just dealing with a wrestling fan there. Wrestling fan. Like I said, it seemed like WWE doesn't like doing clean finishes. That seemed to be the theory of the theme of tonight. Um, After the match happened, Logan Paul was screaming at Show Speed, cost him his undefeated streak at WrestleMania. I don't know if that's actually true because I think Logan Paul has actually lost at WrestleMania, even though he beat AJ Styles, which is still insane to me. And Toddy here agrees with me on that, as you can see. She didn't want me to mention that. So, Logan Paul laid out Show Speed with probably the worst thrown work punch I've ever seen in my life, and then went to go put him on the table. And the good guys were walking away, and even though they've had a feud, I Show Speed, hey Carson. And they kept teasing Usos were gonna kill I Show Speed for costing them the tag team titles. They came back and helped I Show Speed for some reason. They ended up laying out Logan Paul, and then I Show Speed hit this really crazy, weird looking frog splash on Logan Paul through the table. Boston Theory was still selling a BT trigger for about 15 minutes, which made no sense because he was not able to help Logan Paul. I'm assuming we're gonna get the Vision versus the Usos run back for the tag team title in Raw, and the Usos are gonna win those titles back. I'm assuming the Vision are only supposed to win them for Mania and then drop them again. Only going into that match, and I guess at some point we're getting an Extra Speed versus Logan Paul match or Austin Theory, and I don't think anyone wants to watch either one of those. Hey, you're okay. You're okay. You're okay. Sorry, guys. She's just really panting heavy right now. Hey, hey, hey. You're okay. I promise. Um, I don't think she likes me talking about wrestling too much. Hey, you're okay. I promise. Hey, I know it's hot. It's warm outside today, Tots. Um, that being said, as a match in general, I'm gonna give it only because it seemed like a time crunch and didn't seem like a lot of the stuff clicked, and it told a good story for what it's supposed to tell. And eventually saw I Show Speed learn the error of his ways, I guess you could say, and he was not cursed anymore. I guess they didn't even really talk about it in the match. It would have been smart for them to play a little bit more openly cursed because I Show Speed said that he was cursed. I Show Speed didn't do much, and they kind of hyped it up like he was going to do something. I still don't think Logan Paul's as good as people want to think he is. Austin Theory is just getting screwed around a lot by WWE. At least the one good thing out of all this is at least Logan. I mean, like my buddy Colin said, at least LA Knight got the pin. Um, so I'm gonna give it a silver for that alone. But the match, it was. Is it a match you're gonna remember? No. Following that, I believe we had the women's tag team title match, if I'm not mistaken. Also, that match, and this is the theme of the night. It seemed like the exception of two matches. A match around under 10 minutes. What do you think, Tots? It was 7 minutes and 10 seconds to be exact. How is that a WrestleMania match? The average AEW match it goes about 27 minutes. So WrestleMania, look, Todd even agrees with me. The opening match of WrestleMania of night one went 7 minutes. Um, sorry, my apologies. We then had Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre. Even though it looked like I was falling asleep, I was fighting sleep, but I still did watch that whole match. If you watched my video, very very good match, good storytelling. I like the throwbacks with Jacob Fatu bringing out the toolbox. If you guys remember, Drew McIntyre was busted open for 27 stitches, I believe it was, in his head, and the Hell in a Cell match with CM Punk with the toolbox. A lot of cool candles, a lot of cool spots with candlesticks, steel chairs. Great storytelling. I thought it could be a little more vicious. I figured they would brought out handcuffs again, teasing the Jacob Fatu incarceration thing, because Jacob Fatu was arrested a few times. Two very good guys had their working shoes on in this match. They just, I guess, agreed to go out and beat the ever living fuck out of each other because they did that. There was one spot where Drew McIntyre kicked out of the Mighty Moonsault. I think he's the first person I've seen in WWE kick out of that moonsault. Interesting. So guess you save those type of things for the big matches, right? And nowhere bigger than Mania. Um, like I said, good match. These guys had their working shoes on. It was brilliant all around, both guys. Good storytelling. The finish was interesting though, because Jacob Fatu got drilled with a claymore, kicks out. Drew McIntyre goes to get the toolbox, gets distracted for a second, arguing with the referee, turns around, gets hit with the toolbox onto the table. Mighty moonsault. Jacob Fatu wins, and then celebrates. Um, Jacob Fatu is a certified badass. This should probably mean he should go off the title at some point, but I don't think it's gonna be right now unless we do what we were teasing in the main event, and we'll talk about that when we get to it. But like I said, very good match. Double the time of the very first match. The first match was 7 minutes and 10 seconds. The following match, 14 minutes and 10 seconds. But there was about 15 minutes of commercials by this point already. And that was kind of the theme also of the night that people are getting frustrated about. And you can read all about it on social media if you haven't. We'll joke about it, but it's kind of annoying. Um, I'm gonna give that match a gold just because I thought they did the work they were supposed to do, and the story told the story you're supposed to tell. Those two guys should now move apart from each other, and I don't know what you do, Jacob. I don't know what you do, Drew, but there should be no more matches between these two. It's been going on for 8 months, and just like the Wyatt and the MFTs, it should end, but the only difference is Drew and Jacob I've actually told the good stories, riots, and the MFTs. It just never really worked, to be honest with you, and that ended on SmackDown, I believe, because Oklahoma got pinned. Following that, we had the women's tag team title match. This one goes a minute and a half longer than the opening match at 8:35. But we had Brie Bella and Paige. Guess because Nikki Bella came out, and I was like, oh, in my head, I was like, oh no, she's wrestling. I think half the crowd thought that too. And she had a crutch on. She said, unfortunately, she was not able to return tonight. She tried, but she had a friend come out with her. It was Paige who got probably one of the hugest pops of the night. Happy for her to be back. She seems so very, very happy to be back. She is a WWE girl. She's never been an AEW girl. I think, like I told my one friend, AEW just brought her in to piss off Triple H. But the whole story of that match is based around Paige actually getting her first in-ring action in WWE in almost 9 years, and they kind of teased it repeatedly. But we'll talk about that when we get to it. I want to give a shout out to Nia and Lash Legend. Absolutely incredible tribute to Demolition. If you guys haven't seen that, go on social media and check it out. Awesome gear. Speaking about tributes, there's a really cool tribute by Alexa Bliss to Bray Wyatt. It might be the best gear I've ever seen in my life. Go check that out as well. I think Alexa's posted it herself. She even had an emotional post for Bray on her Instagram. I don't know if she's leaving or what's going on because it seemed like she thanked Charlotte. I don't know if that tag team is done. Charlotte thanked Alexa as well, but if it is, I think they let Alexa walk out a little bit better than she did. She took the pin. Um, I think the wrong team won the match, but it was a good match overall. We also had Bailey and Lyra in that match, forgot to mention, and Nia Jackson, Last Legend. They shouldn't have walked out champions. They didn't. They did walk in champions. Pretty much anyone outside of one person who walked in champion did not walk out champion night one. We'll leave it at that. And they were all women. Um, very good match. Good story. It was a four-way and fatal four-way, so one person for every team was in the match. Good storytelling. 1.9 Lash used their power to get on everyone's advantage, and all three of the teams got together and tried to attack Nia and Lash. Typical of David versus Goliath WWE storytelling version, but all the girls had their working shoes on in this match. They kept teasing and teasing and teasing that Paige was going to get in the match, and every time she got in, everyone would take out B so she couldn't get to Paige. Eventually, Paige got the hot tag. She ran wild for a little bit, then she got taken out. And then at one point, Paige actually got taken out by Nitro. They even teased Paige versus Charlotte. If you guys know their history, they were in a tag. They were in a triple when they first came up. I can't speak right now. They were in a stable with Becky. They were PCB, or at one point named the Submission Sorority. But I think Vince then realized that was a sexual term. Just like he wanted to name Walter Gunther Himmler. Didn't realize what Gunther Himmler was, and just went to Gunther. And he's still Walter to me. I'll never ever ever fucking call him Gunther. He's Walter. Um, They teased the history between Paige and Charlotte. At one point, they actually had Paige and Charlotte have a standoff. They didn't do anything because they got interrupted, and then Paige and Charlotte did have their standoff, and Charlotte hit Paige with a natural selection. Went tagged in Alexa, who went for the Twisted Bliss, but before she could, I was like, "Hey, why is Nikki just circling the ring?" She ended up attempting to beat up Charlotte with a crutch, but it was very, very bad. Um, this distracted Alexa, who then got hit by knees when she went for Twisted Bliss, and then the Rampage, and new tag team champions. In 2026, I don't mind seeing Paige as a champion because Paige is still a very good wrestler. Brie Bella and Nikki Bella shouldn't be anywhere near wrestling or the title scene in 2026. My personal opinion. I'm going to give the match a gold. I'm going to give the finish a bronze because, like I said, happy for Paige. I just don't think the Bella should be anywhere near titles in 2026. And also, Paige has returned to two different companies. Returned to wrestling, won the title in AEW. Returned to WWE, won the tag team championships. So I think Paige just made history. She's the first person in wrestling to win the women's title in both companies and then win the tag team championship with one company. If that makes sense, she's the first one to never do that because she's the first person to work for both and win both of both companies. So good for her. I just nobody mentioned it on WWE because they don't talk about it. Neither does AEW with them. Also, if you guys saw the reports that people have been posting in the WWE fan selection places, they have championship bouts for everybody, but the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is hilarious in my opinion. Yes, Jacksonville's never won anything, but neither had 90% of the league, and they still have titles for him. Both these companies have to let go of their high school bitterness. Um, that being said, like I said, the match itself will get a gold because they did the job it was supposed to do. And The finish I don't agree with, and the person who got pinned I don't think should have been pinned. Um, I think it should have been Brie who got pinned, and I think it should have been Lyra who pinned Brie. That's my personal opinion. I think Brie and Bailey should have won the title since Bailey had her WrestleMania moment last year taken from her because WWE decided she wasn't worthy of a WrestleMania match, and I don't think they realized how good Bailey actually is. That's my personal opinion. This match goes 8 minutes 35 seconds. Like I said, at that point we had about 25, 30 minutes of commercials, and that's kind of the theme of the night. We then had, if I'm not mistaken, oh yes, John Cena also kicked off the card and thanked us all for coming. He would later on in the night come out, and I think it was following this match, will come out and thank us again for being a great audience. The audience thanked them for being a great audience, and then telling them we had 58,100 or whatever the hell number was. Bianca Belair's music hit, and everyone popped. That was one of their two returns of the night. The other one we'll talk about when we get to it, and everyone is stoked because I guess she's healed from her finger injury. But when I first saw her in my mouth and she read my lips, I'm like, she looks different. Something's wrong. Something's up with her. She thanked us all, talked to us about how she missed us all, and then she said she had some news for us, and she was covered up for some reason, all in blue. So clearly they're having a boy. In my opinion, I could be wrong. She then revealed she's having a baby, and it looked like she was a little bit along, so maybe they tried to hide this for a bit to hide the fact that it wasn't just a finger she was dealing with, and they wanted to actually make sure she was pregnant, had been along for a little bit before it came out. So at 30, and I'm not the guy that wants to say this, good for her, gold plus. I don't blame anyone for whatever wanting to have kids. I'm an uncle. I have a niece and a nephew. 30, but at 37 years old and already missing what's going to be almost 3 years of your career, due to the injury, now having a baby, which takes a year, and then get a little bit of time off for maternity leave, which is another however long she wants, right? Say she's around 40-ish when she gets back. As an athlete, your body does start to break down at some point, and when you haven't done something this physical in almost 4 years, guys, I hate to say this, and this might be a bronze on me, but I think that might be the last time we ever see Bianca Belair, unless she goes into the Hall of Fame or something like that. In a wrestling ring, or at least a WWE wrestling ring. I'll be right back, guys. My dog sees something. What's there, Tots? What's there? She's sniffing, baby girl. It's rather unfortunate. Like I said, I don't want to be the guy that does that to somebody and ends their in ring career. But I think for Bianca Belair, it is safe to say she is might quite possibly finished. And if she wanted to start a family and that was her end goal, good for her. She deserved it. She did put on a hell of a run when she was there. NXT and WWE just never ever won the NXT title. Was a former WWE Tag Team Champion. Never got a chance at either one of the heavy titles. I mean the other women's titles because she was injured by then. Um, that was a really good moment. So there's three returns tonight. Sorry, Paige. Hey, Todd, what's up? She's playing with my wires, guys. Trying to figure out what they are. Oh, let me go see if she's found something. Right there, Todd. Oh, there's a bug there. What the fuck? Try to leave it. Try to leave it. That's gonna get it. Sorry, sorry, guys. If I do a little bit of cleaning here. This one leads us into probably one of my I think the this is gonna get a bronze. It just wasn't good. It didn't work. Their storytelling was good in the fact that they had Jessica Carr in as the referee, and she has that history with Becky Lynch. I kind of played into that a little bit. So I already mentioned it was the Intercontinental title match. AJ Lee's gonna get a gold for her entrance and the way she used the kids, and they all skipped to the ring and they all had her titles, and you could tell that meant something to AJ Lee because she blew kisses to all of them and she was smiling. You could see she was a little emotional. And this is the most predictable match in all of WrestleMania. AJ Lee was dropping the belt. Um, The Jessica Carr stuff was cool. AJ Lee bumped her ass off in the match. It was a very good match. It was a very good story, not a very good match, I guess you could say. AJ Lee seemed to struggle a few times with a few things, and if you could see my reaction live, I was like, you could even hear me audibly say, "What the hell?" 2 or 3 times in that match because certain things just didn't connect. It seemed like. There's one spot I don't know if it's supposed to be a clothesline or what it was, but they just ran into each other and had their arms extended. I don't know what that was. And then AJ Lee tried to do like an under the a Kendo Gray, like go under the ropes, trip the wrestler type move. That didn't work. She struggled doing the Black Widow, and then I think she kind of fell off, but Becky Lynch tried to save it by pulling her hair. The finish happened when Becky Lynch took the turnbuckle off for the second time. The first time she got caught, Jessica Carr was arguing with her again. There's actually a really cool spot right before that, sorry guys, where they went at each other, Jessica Carr and Becky Lynch, or maybe a little bit of tease, Jessica Carr's coming back. Um, and they pushed each other. Becky went to charge. It looked like she was going to get Jessica Carr. Jessica Carr just moved. She got hit by the rock bottom, whatever you want to call it. The Beck, not the Beck exploder, the manhandle slam. Um, 1 2.99999999 kick out of the very, 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 very last second. Um, it was like I said, the match was like it's just like the first match of the night was there. It wasn't. It won't be memorable for anything outside of a few spots with Becky Lynch and the referee. But the finish happened when Becky pulled the turnbuckle after the second time, put Jessica Carr in front of her. AJ Lee ran into Jessica Carr. That took out Jessica Carr for a second. AJ Lee went headfirst into the turnbuckle. Great dead cell. She went completely limp. Allowed Becky Lynch to hit her manhandle slam, but that was kind of pointless at that point because AJ Lee was clearly dead. 1 2 3. For the third time, Becky Lynch is the Intercontinental Champion. Now my question is, who is Becky gonna fight? Who is AJ Lee gonna fight? Like she teased all these people she was gonna wrestle, and then if you guys saw her later on social media, she said she's not saying goodbye, but she's gonna go away for a little bit. Didn't she just come back? Like at my point, and I'm an AJ Lee fan. I always will be. Maybe it's time for AJ Lee to just walk away. Don't tarnish the legacy that was AJ Lee. But unlike the Bellas, she actually can still wrestle, and wrestling has not passed her by. She just isn't as good as she once was. Whereas the Bellas were just never, ever good. And this isn't Bella slander. I just don't care for them personally. Following that, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's. Let me double check. I can't remember if it was Gunther and. Oh, sorry, Walter and Seth Rollins, or if it was the women's title match. Yeah, it was Gunther and Seth Rollins. And this is the longest match of the night at that point by a minute and a half. Um, this was sorry, that title match 8 minutes and 15 seconds. For Becky Lynch and I like AJ Lee, and at that point we're about 35 minutes into commercials, maybe longer. And they just played the same commercials over and over and over and over again. So that was the other thing that irritated people. And most of them weren't even wrestling commercials; they were just random movie commercials, like the Charlize Theron one, which looks really good. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. This was by far and away the match of night one. The main event was the co-match of night one, but this was by far and away the match of night one. There wasn't much of a story leading into it. Gunther was doing it because he wanted a favor from Paul Heyman when it was time to get that favor. And this is the very first time these guys have and also I forgot to mention not one of these matches well, yeah, not one match is a clean finish on night one. My personal opinion. No, sorry, there wasn't my personal opinion. Not one match on that night was a clean finish. Um This one is also another example. We had a huge return. It's a good match, just back and forth. At one point, Gunther is just absolutely dominating Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins dominated Gunther. The tables in WWE don't seem to want to break. As Seth Rollins pedigreed and stomped Gunther through the table. That was a very cool spot in that match. Gunther hit the Tyrannosaurus dropkick to start the match. He had a power bomb, and then he had another power bomb in the apron, and then he put a power bomb through the table. Not one time did that break. A lot of near close falls. In the end, Braun Breaker returned, came out of nowhere, drilled Seth Rollins to spear. Gunther got him in the sleeper, and Seth Rollins passed out as Seth Rollins was leaving again. Braun Breaker hit the longest spear I've ever seen in my life. He ran down the entire length of that ramp. It took him about a minute and a half to get there, and he looked like he was gassed by the time he hit it. And Seth Rollins sold the fuck out of it. So clearly, we keep going with the Braun Breaker and Seth feud, which never really got a chance to get started because Seth got hurt and then Braun got hurt when Seth came back. And He was cleared about a week before WrestleMania, but they didn't want to rush that match because there is no physical way you're going to get Braun in the ring at that point. But for Gunther versus Seth, I'm going to give that a gold plus. Like I said, it was the match of the night without a shadow of a doubt. And then we had the moment that stole the night. We'll call it Cheeks and as Roxanne came out halfway through the women's. Sorry, guys. We had the women's title match next, which Wikipedia has now changed to 9 minutes when the original was supposed to be 6 minutes on Wikipedia. I don't know where the other. Oh, I know where the other 3 minutes got in. We're gonna start this off by Liv Morgan and that Trouble Trouble song should never exist again in my lifetime. It was by far and away the most cringy thing I've seen in WrestleMania history. The entrance alone was bad as. Ew. I don't know if Liv is supposed to be singing it or dancing or what she was doing, but she really did much of anything. She lipped half the words, as she forgot to have the words as well, and some of the dance moves were really bad. It was just a cringy, like low rate Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera entrance esque type thing. But it just did. That shouldn't exist again. Like that should not be your entrance anymore. Just watch me in the da 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 thing song should be your song. Liv has gotten so much better every single time she steps in the ring compared to what she was 11, 12 years ago on NXT. The storyline was awesome. This match itself kind of seemed like it was rushed and forced. If you want to know my opinion on it, it just makes me think we're gonna have a few more matches, and I think at some point Roxanne's gonna turn on Liv because, like I said, I have a theory. If you all forget, Finn Balor's the person who brought Roxanne into the Judgment Day, and then when they were about to ask Liv, Roxanne what she thought about Judgment Day taking out Finn, they never got the chance because Stephanie took them both out. So we don't actually have a clear answer on Roxanne. Thanks, but like I said, Roxanne gets the moment of the night. If you guys have not seen, go on social media, you'll see what Roxanne's wearing in the camera angle of the man. Who took that camera. He might be the hero for everyone on social media who's never had sex. But Roxanne let the full moon hang out. We'll say that. It was only about 5 or 6 seconds, but yeah, Roxanne was wearing something very revealing. I guess you guys didn't see that. I'm teasing that the two girls from Judgment Day got involved. At one point, that spot was Liv. Sorry, Stephanie was going for her spiral tap. Liv was Roxanne was on one side distracting the referee where the moon came out, and Raquel was on the other side, took out Stephanie. Liv hit the Oblivion. Stephanie kicked out. And then they go to the outside where Stephanie takes out all the Judgment Day. Liv moves out of the way because she pushed both girls in front. This makes me even more speculate one of these two girls is going to turn on Liv. She pushed Stephanie into the steel chairs, and for some reason that incapacitated her to the point where she was able to get lung blows from the top rope, and then Oblivion again, and that was it. Wikipedia is saying that match went 9 minutes. I with entrances probably 9 minutes because Liv's entrance alone was 5 minutes. To be honest with you guys, the only entrance longer than that were like Cody's and Randy's. Um, I'm gonna give it a silver because it was there to be there. It was a good match. It told the story it's supposed to tell, but I just think it seemed kind of rushed for the story that was put in for over 2 months for this match. They should have got a lot more time, in my personal opinion. Um, the girls had their working boots on. They did a good job. A lot of false finishes and teases, but I just don't think it was given enough time to breathe or get going. That's my personal opinion. So I'm gonna give it a silver because it did what it was supposed to do and got you hooked. And maybe think there's gonna be a rematch in the future. And then we had the main event. Very cool entrances for both Randy and Cody. The fans at points saying Randy the ring. Randy had a very cool ring video entrance. And there's speculation that he'd been hurt his back before the match started. He'd been working injured, and apparently he told WWE he was injured, and they let it leak. So I think it's part of the story. And even sold the shit out of his back being injured in the match. But Cody got a really, really, really cool entrance. I think it might be a tease that Cody's turned to the dark side because it showed all the good things Cody's done. And Cody even worked this match very, very heelish. I even said that a few times during the video. If you guys could remember me saying, like, is he heel? What is going on? Like, what the hell is Cody doing? He did a lot of underhanded things. Like when Randy wouldn't, I like the throwbacks in this match as well because there's points when Randy knew Cody was injured and he would not pull the trigger to hurt him even more. Like he could kick him in the skull and one with that punch when they first fought at King of the Ring. Randy just was being the good guy and he would not do what he was supposed to do. And in this match, apparently he is the guy that was supposed to be listening to the voices in his head. And it did not seem like Randy was working the match heel, if that makes sense. It seems like he's working it as a baby face. Even though at the very beginning, Pat McAfee attempted to take out Cody, and Pat McAfee got absolutely destroyed by Jelly Roll and Cody. But in my mic, in my head, and in the video, I'm like, oh, okay, he'll be back at some point. He's going to try and help Randy. And of course, he came running down halfway through the match as referee. There's a referee bump. But like I said, Cody was working very much a heel style, and Randy was working very much the underneath babyface style. Um, I thought it was an absolutely brilliant match. I'll tell anyone until I'm blue in the face. I thought it was a very, very good match. Probably one of the best, brilliantly told stories I've seen in a WrestleMania match. It was slow paced, and there's parts of it that were well paced, and it was kind of in between, if that makes sense to you guys. Um, it had its moments, we'll say that. I thought Randy was selling the shit out of his back being injured. There's even spots where Randy did things to himself and it hurt his back. There's a really cool homage to his dad, his superplex that he likes to do. Cody hit the draping DDT. They both hit each other with each other's finishing moves. There's one spot where the referee got taken out by Randy after Cody poked him in the eye. So that's one of the heelish things Cody did. Randy went to kick him in the balls. Cody blocked it, smiled, and kicked Randy in the balls and went for the pin. There's no referee. And then all of a sudden, Pat McAfee came running out of nowhere with a referee shirt on and a neck brace. And I don't know what happened, but there should have been 3 count, and he stopped it like 2.5 for some reason. Didn't really explain anything, and Randy just RKO'd McAfee out of nowhere. I guess he probably realized like fucked up by bringing McAfee in the first place. This happened. Cody took advantage, took out Randy from behind, hit the crossroads, and was one crossroads. That pinned Randy Orton. After about 4 or 5 RKOs, and Cody Rhodes did nothing. There's one really cool spot where Cody went for a disaster kick, and Randy did the thing where he catches the person out of nowhere and turns it into an RKO. That should have been the finish of the match, in my personal opinion. After the match, Randy attacked Cody with the belt and then punted him right in the skull to the ovation of the crowd. And if you guys have not seen the aftermath of that, go look at Cody's eyes swollen shut. Um, I think Randy might have actually connected. I don't know. You could even tell because we went off air and the fans are still there. Randy was bending over, checking on Cody, and I think Green made hear him read his lips saying sorry. Um, I'm gonna give the match a gold plus plus. Like I said, brilliant match, great story, absolutely brilliantly put together. It was given 21 minutes, and it did the job it was supposed to do in 21 minutes, 22 minutes and 55 seconds. Sorry. Um, just a great job overall, great match. WrestleMania in general. At that point, I think it was about an hour, hour and a half long of commercials and 45 minutes worth of matches with the timing of it. Um, like I said, night one seemed like it was more of an elongated Raw or SmackDown, if that makes sense to me. So, as a show in general, I'm going to give it a silver. There's a few matches and a few returns that were really, really cool. But in general, I just did not hit home with me. That being said, guys, night two is tonight, and we're gonna see what happens. I'm really looking forward to that ladder match, and we'll watch that, and I'll give you a review tomorrow because I won't be able to do it tonight because I'll be at a family dinner. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.